The Looney Tunes animated anthology series premiered in 1930, and in its nearly 100 years has become a pop culture juggernaut, conquering movie theaters, television, video games, theme parks, and more. The franchise launched entertainment icons like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, and others that have entertained generations, won a slew of accolades, including 5 Academy Awards, and has generated an estimated $17 billion. While entertainment industry mergers and misfortunes have bruised the property's prestige in recent years, the characters retain incredible cultural cachet, and those classic shorts remain outrageously entertaining. So join the great pop culture debate as we attempt to name the best Looney Tunes character. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting bears. Or cubs, or otters. I'm honestly not very picky. I'm your host, Eric Resniak. Please welcome my panelists for this episode. First up, after a series of incidents involving dynamite, disguises, and one very convincing carrot, she's back at it. It's the return of Andrea Guerrero.
In hindsight, trusting the carrot was a very bold move.
Of course, you realize this means war. Or at least debate. Next, she recently bought stock in Acme Corporation and has a really good feeling about this investment. It's Joelle Bodecker.
And I've only blown myself up 50 times. I'm going to catch that Roadrunner. I just know it.
Meep, meep. Finally, I say, our last panelist is about as subtle as a hand grenade in a barrel of oatmeal. It's the return of Steven Salvatore.
Okay, I had a prepared line, but honestly, I can't get through it. I was going to say, now who's responsible for this unwarranted attack on my person? But I can't. This is amazing.
I hear you, and I don't know about anyone else, but I am feeling like chicken tonight. And up in the producer booth, we have Curtis Creekmore, who is suffering with or without the succotash. And with these introductions out of the way, let's grab this episode's bracket from greatpopculturedebate.com and get into our silly 16. First up, the panel has a carrot for ultimate number 1 seed Bugs Bunny, which means it's the stick for 4 seed Granny, who is unanimously out of our bracket. But Joelle, you wanted to speak on this golden oldie.
Absolutely. I learned a few things about Granny in my brief research. She is apparently one of the very first characters. She precedes Bugs Bunny even. She was voiced by one of the few women involved in Looney Tunes voices. She was not just a granny that stopped a cat and a bird from fighting, but apparently she was a licensed pilot, an award-winning detective, and a martial arts expert. And we all remember her as a cheerleader in Space Jam.
Yes. I mean, you better work, Granny. This was, sisters were doing it for themselves in the 1920s, and I think that's amazing. Unfortunately, she's up against Bugs Bunny, and Bugs will move into round 2. Next, the panel is evenly split between 2 seed Sylvester the Cat and 3 seed Foghorn Leghorn. Andrea, tell us why Sylvester remains your pet project. Joelle, farm for votes as you attempt to hatch a coup for Foghorn Leghorn. Unless, of course, you're chicken. Joelle, please go first.
I'm just going to put this out there. I cannot do the accent. I won't even try. You both did way better. All right. So I learned the definition of blowhard by watching Foghorn Leghorn as a child.
I learned it for completely different reasons in my community, but please go on.
There's that. He is actually one of the characters that is directly inspired by a character that sounds exactly like that, who is based on a real person, like a real senator. He's based on a. Anyway, he is. If you really stop and listen to the words he says nothing.
Yep.
But he says it loud with a booming voice, and he thinks he's in charge of everything. And there's something very almost naive about it that, as an adult looking back, I didn't like him as a kid, but as an adult looking back, I find him very amusing and very silly. And what's the point of Looney Tunes if not to be amused and charmed by it? Any character in the history of entertainment that has had that sort of accent has always been Foghorn Leghorn to me for the continuation of that particular, show or movie. So
yeah, absolutely.
He's iconic.
Andrea, talk to us about Sylvester the Cat.
So Sylvester the Cat is the 4th most frequently seen character in the Looney Tunes universe, making 103 appearances, including lead parts and cameos. Like a lot of the antagonists in Looney Tunes, Sylvester never gives up, and he's had many owners throughout his lifespan, including Granny, who we'll talk about, and Porky Pig. And he has remained largely consistent in his personality, with his desire just to eat Tweety Bird, who is like his housemate. They're both pets, and that's kind of the beauty in their relationship between them, is Sylvester's kind of always going after Tweety. making him always in the wrong because he has shelter, he has food, he presumably sleeps in the human bed. He has nothing to be upset about, so I don't know why he is trying to eat this bird all the time, other than the fact that Tweety is just antagonizing him more so than the other way around. Tweety's always egging him on. Sylvester is easily annoyed, and I can appreciate that. I think he's misunderstood as an antagonist and trying to put Tweety in their place, which is on Walmart pajama pants. And on top of that, Mel Blanc himself revealed in his autobiography that Sylvester was his favorite character, and I think by default that should advance him to the next round.
I love these arguments. I had no idea what to expect tonight, but these are actually great.
Why not?
Steven Salvatore, is it going to be Sylvester the cat or is it going to be Foghorn Leghorn?
Honestly, Sylvester. Sylvester is an icon for every reason that was just mentioned. And for personal reasons, because I must make it personal. Sylvester is my mom's favorite. And it reminds me of growing up and always having like Sylvester merch everywhere. Like everything was Sylvester every time my mom saw Sylvester, and like in a store, not even the WB store, but literally anywhere. It was like, I need to get this Sylvester pen, this Sylvester eraser. I had a Sylvester mug. So I am partial to Sylvester, and Foghorn can go scratch.
My mom is that way about the Pillsbury Doughboy, which I also now realize was probably a reflection on me. So a couple things. In your description, Joelle, you made me realize Foghorn Leghorn is modern politicians. Like, he probably politicians from the 1950s too, but like, he says a lot but says nothing, and it's completely absurd and ridiculous. It would be funny if it wasn't so terrifying, but that is true about Foghorn Leghorn.
Yes.
Also, he's paired with, is it Chicken Hawk? Is that the Henry, the hawk or something? Yeah. Which also, there's a thing there about like going after much younger prey, whatever. Like there's some, and also we're just going to put this out there. There's a lot of disturbing things that is the subtext to these cartoons, and we're going to pick at that as we go along.
Yeah.
But Sylvester, I love Sylvester just as the cat, but also I love Sylvester the disco songstress who gave me You Made Me Feel Mighty Real. And for that reason, I'm giving it to Sylvester, who is a 2-seed, and he will continue into the next round. Next, the bulk of the panel is in the mood for love, or at least for animated sexual harassment, and is picking 4-seed Pepe LePew, while I am ready to shoot off at the mouth in favor of 1-seed Yosemite Sam. Stephen, tell us why this bracket would stink if Pepe LePew goes out in round 1. I will defend Sam. Why don't you go ahead, Stephen?
You know, Pepe Le Pew is certainly a choice.
Yeah.
And consent is important. And that's about all I'm going to say for Pepe Le Pew. Because I really, listen, I don't want to invite him into the conversation because he's me too'd every Lola Bunny, Betty Boop, and Jessica Rabbit, okay? And instead, I am going to bring in a substitute right now. We're going to acknowledge Penelope Pussycat, who endured his abuse and always came out chic, okay? She demonstrated resilience and adaptability at every single turn, all right? She ran, she hid, she used disguises, she was a clever trickstress.
Yes.
And honestly, everything that he did to try to win her just made her comedic timing ring even more true, because listen, those raised backs, the hissing, the outlandish reactions that were not outlandish at all, they were very much warranted because Pepe Le Pew was, again, a choice. I think without her, Pepe falls flat. So I am gonna fight for Penelope, and that's my argument for Pepe.
I love it. All in favor of replacing Pepe Le Pew with Penelope Pussycat, raise your hand. It is unanimous.
Pro cat.
Yes.
So this has never happened before in the Great Pop Culture Debate. We are retroactively changing the bracket and replacing serial sexual assaulter Pepe Le Pew with his victim, Penelope Pussycat, who was rocking the white striped look before Rogue, before that gal from Josie and the Pussycats, style icon, before Michelle Visage. Thank you very much. A great argument.
Very Michelle Visage.
Very Michelle Visage. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Yosemite Sam, or to use his Christian name, Aloysius Bartholomew Sam. This is true. I did not make that up. That is for real. I would not lie about Yosemite Sam. I wouldn't do that to you.
Or Aloysius, for that
or
matter.
Aloysius. Well, all right. So Yosemite Sam appeared in 33 shorts between 1945 to 1964, which is what we're referring to as the golden age of Looney Tunes. Yes, there were shorts that were after that. They weren't as good. Let's name it. He even had his own comic book series that ran for 81 issues. Like, the Avengers can't go more than 10 issues in modern day, but Yosemite Sam had an 81-issue run. That's crazy. So Sam is the more aggressive and formidable antagonist for Bugs and Daffy and the rest of them. He's hot-tempered. He's prone to cursing. He's eager to kill. Oh my God, is it my father? I'm having a breakthrough. He is typically portrayed as a prospector or a hermit, but he was also cast as a pirate, a knight, a Roman soldier. He's prone to old-timey turns of phrase like varmint, galoot. Again, oh my God, is this my father? I'm having a breakthrough. Sam is America. Sam is modern America. Gun-loving, angry, stupid, prone to shoot anything that he doesn't like. Yosemite Sam is us. That's my argument. So, Andrea, is it going to be Penelope Pussycat, the retroactive choice, or is it going to be Yosemite Sam?
I originally had Pepe or Penelope in this case, but I think I am going to switch to Yosemite. I do have a soft spot for that character. I think he represents the Rust Belt really well.
Yeah.
And, in the year of our Lord 2026, we need that representation right now, truly.
Do you see yourself in Yosemite Sam?
I do, with the orange beard and everything.
Yes. Putty Tat, a.k.a. Joelle Bodegger, is it going to be Yosemite Sam or is it going to be Penelope Pussycat?
I even wore my cat shirt for this occasion. Generally, I'm going to be pro cat. I forgot that Sylvester was a cat when I voted against him in the last round. I do love Penelope, who's also been named Fifi, and that's why I didn't know her name, because I thought she was Fifi this whole time. Yosemite Sam has a really fantastic mustache, and I have created it at least once or twice in my life with yarn. That is not the reason for anything. I just wanted you to know. I'm still voting for Penelope. But, I don't think she's going to win based on the bracket.
Because I have been so moved by Stephen's plea, I'm switching my vote to Penelope Pussycat. I just think it's great. And for any future panelists, if you can find a way of making me change the panel midway through, you know what? You go for it. We love a stunt queen. So we are going to move Penelope Pussycat into round 2.
Amazing.
Next, it's 2 more unanimous decisions as 2-seed Marvin the Martian is well on his way to bracket conquest, having annihilated the chances of 3-seed Elmer Fudd, and 1-seed Daffy Duck is a minted mallard as he is taking flight over 4-seed Michigan J Frog. But Andrea, you wanted to speak on Elmer.
Yeah, Elmer is Bugs Bunny's main arch nemesis, and I think that warrants a discussion. He's by far the dumbest bad guy in the Looney Tunes universe, and that adds to his charm. It's always rabbit season to him, and then vice versa, it's always Elmer season to Bugs. While Elmer is considered a bad guy, Bugs turns the tables every step of the way, from jamming his shotgun, digging his way out of holes, bringing drag art to the forefront, #ProtectQueerArt. Bugs drives Elmer absolutely bonkers, and without Elmer Fudd, there would be no Bugs Bunny.
I mean, that is true for more than one reason, because Elmer was actually the first. No, I'm taking that back. Elmer was not the first star from Looney Tunes. Porky was. But Elmer was, I believe Elmer predates Bugs Bunny. Like, I believe Bugs first appears as an Elmer antagonist before he's named Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, his very first appearance is 1937, around the same time as Daffy and Porky. Yep.
So you are correct on that. It occurs to me that Elmer Fudd also, kind of in his own way, was kind of an activist for speech impediments. Like, kind of. Or I think at the time it was probably being used as a way to mock him. But, like, I think stuttering activists now probably be like, let the man speak. And also, I have to think, like, in today's modern society, he would be a spokesperson for Rogaine or Hims or something else. You know that's where he'd be. Thank you very much. I'm going to speak a little bit on Michigan J Frog. So Today's children have no idea that the WB was at one point a television network, and Michigan J. Frog was the actual mascot for the WB's entire channel. Like, he was everywhere. He was in the WB store. Before that, he was like a minor character that appeared in just a handful of episodes doing the "Hello, my baby, hello, my darling" bit, and it was great. But he became an important '90s cartoon icon. And now he's completely forgotten. I haven't heard or seen from Michigan J. Frog in years. But he made the bracket, so good for him. Unfortunately, he's out because Daffy Duck is continuing to round 2. Next, the panel is feeling the need for speed, and the bulk of the group thinks bird is the word when it comes to 2-seed Roadrunner, while Andrea is tearing into her argument for 3-seed Tasmanian Devil. Andrea, tell us why, after all these years, you still have Tasmania. Stephen, tell us why the Roadrunner should be remembered for more than just high-speed internet. Andrea, please go first.
If there were ever a perpetually hangry king, it's the Tasmanian Devil. Are real Tasmanian devils that ravenous? I don't know, maybe. But I do know that they are the biggest carnivorous marsupial that currently walks the earth.
Work.
And I think the various directors of Taz bring that energy to the silver screen. Taz is categorized as an antagonist to Bugs Bunny, and again, I think that characterization is unfair. We see a lot of that throughout this bracket, where I think the bad guys are just misjudged. Taz is merely a product of his nature, being the biggest carnivorous marsupial that walks the earth currently. He is a wild animal in search of his next meal just to survive another day, and it's not his fault that Bugs Bunny is a rabbit. And to wrap it up, Taz is cute, and I stand by that, and we love a cute antagonist.
We do. Actually, one thing I did realize when doing my research for this, the antagonists in Looney Tunes are just as likable as the whatever the opposite of Stephen, you're a writer. What's the opposite of it? Yeah.
Yeah, the protagonist.
Protagonist, yeah. They are on equal footing, which is kind of remarkable. That doesn't happen in any other fandom that I can think of. But Stephen, talk to us about Roadrunner, speaking of protagonists.
I mean, whilst Taz is adorable, I think Roadrunner is also equally as cute, but that's not my main argument. I think Roadrunner is brilliant, minimalist comedy, right? There's no monologue. He doesn't talk. He doesn't scheme. He's not over-explaining. He's not Wile E. Coyote who got a degree at Harvard and still can't get anything right. He is always outsmarting Wile E. Coyote, right? And he appears to be simple-minded. However, he's not. He's very, very smart, I think. He's so fast that the world around him bends to him. It's visual poetry. The animation is those sequences, those shorts, just mwah. He literally defies gravity. Sorry, Alphaba. Roadrunner did it first. He can literally zoom into rock walls painted to look like roads. He is the moment. He flips the underdog dynamic because we're supposed to think that he's the underdog because Wile E. Coyote is this predator who's after him, but Wile E. Coyote can never get it right, and he always comes out on top. So Wile E. Coyote's only funny because Roadrunner exists, and they are the most brilliant comedic duo, silent movie icons. Love them. And so
Excellent.
That's
Wonderful arguments from both of you. Joelle, is it going to be Roadrunner or is it going to be Tasmanian Devil?
I do love Tasmanian Devil. He is definitely visually, he is just plain adorable, and the swirl got pig pen things going on. But I'm going with the Roadrunner for really specific reasons. As a child at the WB store, the Roadrunner was represented by his colors, and it was this purple and teal combo. And that was literally the theme of my entire childhood, but specifically my bat mitzvah. There are more ties in with Looney Tunes and my bat mitzvah that we'll get into as we go along this bracket. But that's why I'm going with Roadrunner. Personal.
It's important for listeners who were not around the 90s to understand teal was the 90s. If there was a color for that decade, it was teal. You never hear about it anymore, but that is accurate. That is a picture into the past.
Yep.
I love both of these characters. I think the Foley work, which we're going to talk about more in a second, for Tasmanian Devils, like when he's in his little tornado going, is like impeccable. I have no idea how they did it. I'm giving it to Roadrunner here, but you did a great job, Andrea, and I love Taz. It's a tough call, but I'm going to put Roadrunner next into round 2. The panel is evenly split between 2 Western icons, 1-seed Wile E. Coyote and 4-seed Speedy Gonzales. Joelle, do not be mousy as you defend Speedy Gonzales. I will create an elaborate but ultimately doomed plan to capture votes for the esteemed Wile E. Coyote. I'll go first. So, we just talked about the Roadrunner. Introduced in 1949 as a parody of Tom and Jerry chase cartoons, Wile E. Coyote and his on-screen partner in Prey the Roadrunner became some of the most popular Looney Tunes properties, starring in more than 50 cartoons over the years. Wile E. Coyote is actually based on Mark Twain's description of a coyote, which was characterized as perennially hungry. Chuck Jones, the primary director for a lot of these shorts, had 9 rules that the animators had to follow whenever they were doing a Roadrunner and a Coyote episode. There was no dialogue ever in the classic ones except for meep meep. The Roadrunner had to always stay on the road. Otherwise, logically, he would not be called a road runner. All action must be confined to the natural environment of the 2 characters, the Southwest American desert. It goes on like this. Fascinating stuff. By the way, you kind of alluded to this, Joelle, or I think it was Joelle. No, it was you, Stephen. The backgrounds for the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote shorts, these abstractions of the American West, are honestly beautiful. Like, just the backgrounds are incredible. This is a fun fact. In August, September, and October 1982, the National Lampoon magazine published a 3-part series chronicling the lawsuit Wile E. Coyote filed against the Acme Corporation over the faulty items they sold to him in his pursuit of the Roadrunner. Even though Roadrunner appeared as a witness for the plaintiff, the Coyote still lost his case. Amazing. The other thing while rewatching these shorts I thought was, this is a very smart creature who clearly has a lot of financial assets. He's ordering things all the time from Acme Corporation. Have you never heard of Uber Eats? Like, you could get literally anything else for food, but he's obsessed with the Roadrunner. That being said, Joelle, talk to us about Speedy Gonzales.
So this one is one that I hesitate to be confident about talking about. Is that a great way to run into it? But the more I read about him, the more I was like, no, he's fine. We're good. Because you worry that there was some racist undertones back then, or maybe there were. But apparently, in recent times, he has actually become an icon in Mexico, and they actually love him because he represents just pure kindness. Altruism. He was a Robin Hood character. He just his only foe was cats and cat-like creatures. He just wanted to help people, and he's an icon all on his own. His voice, his andale. I will tell you, I have watched dozens of seasons of The Amazing Race, and the number of people that are in a car in Latin American countries, and frankly, other countries where they shouldn't be using Spanish words, they say andale in the car when they want the driver to go faster. That's iconic because they just don't understand anything. But I hear it and I go right back to our buddy Speedy Gonzales. These cartoons were some of my favorites. They're so chaotic and energetic. And as a kid, like, some of the other ones were a little slower or a little bit more, not that any of them were super thinky, but there's not a lot of strategy. It's just go, 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 go. And those are really, really fun to watch.
These are wonderful arguments he said about one of his own arguments. Steven Salvatore, is it going to be Speedy Gonzales or is it going to be Wile E. Coyote for you?
Honestly, it has to be Wile E. Coyote for me, and this is just a personal thing. Wile E. Coyote is one of my top 2 Looney Tune characters of all time. So I have to give it up for the Coyote.
Andrea, is it going to be Wile E. Coyote or Speedy Gonzales?
Eric, I was a little offended when I saw that you didn't pick me to speak about Speedy Gonzales, so I think I'm going to have to take my exit here. No, kidding. But to all of Joelle's points, I mean, I do agree. Speedy is an icon in Hispanic culture. I mean, in my house, growing up, we had a ton of Speedy Gonzales memorabilia because we just, like, loved that character so much. It was something that it was representation, right? We didn't really see that often in cartoons, especially in the Midwest. Speedy Gonzales he's clever, he's quick, he's funny, and he's the opposite of the lazy Mexican stereotype, which was something that we always really appreciated. But yeah, I just have a lot of fond memories with him in general, and I think he's a really fun character that's done well after a history of Warner Brothers' other problematic characters.
Steven, I'm going to throw a curveball. We already have the Roadrunner moving forward, and I would argue that the Roadrunner does not exist without Wile E. Coyote. And what if we agree that the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote are now, we're changing the bracket again. We're bending the laws
so
of physics.
loony. This whole
much like the
Curtis
Lonely
is
Shorts.
losing his mind.
So it's Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, but then we can move Speedy Gonzales forward as well. What do we think, Steven?
Sure. I mean, I think they're an iconic duo. So yes, I love
So we're
this.
doing it. We're going to move forward Speedy Gonzales. I'm going to vote for Speedy with the understanding that Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner are considered one unit for the rest of the bracket. If you're listening to this and being like, what are you doing? We are basically doing a Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner sketch where we are completely rewriting the rules of physics, of chemistry, of all of it. It's our reality. We're doing what we want.
This is your podcast. You can do whatever you want.
You better believe it.
I just need to say, my spreadsheet is displeased, but I am happy.
Great. I love that for us. Finally, in round one, it's one more split decision as half the panel is squealing in delight over 2-seed Porky Pig, while the others know why the caged bird sings and prefer 3-seed Tweety Bird. Andrea, tell us why Porky is some pig. Stephen, I taught a wound too for Tweety Bird. Did I? Stephen, go first.
Wait, you got to give me a second after that.
I know.
All right. So Tweety Bird, quite a deceptive little bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Also trans icon, okay? Technically, I guess Tweety is a boy.
Wow.
Honestly, the eyelashes tell a different story in my head canon. Tweety exists beyond gender.
Yep.
Okay. There's the comedy dynamic. Obviously, we've already talked about Tweety and Sylvester. I think creates a perfectly balanced rivalry in a way that's different than Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. The main difference is the humor and the banter between those two characters. Tweety outsmarts Sylvester every time, even though personally I'm partial to Sylvester. Sorry, don't tell the little bird. I think that the humor comes from how smart it is, where the predator is incompetent and the prey is unstoppable. And I love how that's a common theme that travels throughout the different Looney Tunes shorts and different dynamics. Obviously, there's the iconic I taught putty tat. You cannot get away from that. It's just genius. It's so innocent, yet Tweety is not innocent, and we all know this. Tweety is savage.
Yep.
They're a beast, so props to that genderless queen, also trans right.
That's right. She is a stealth bitch, and I know I just swore, and we weren't going to swear, but she is. Andrea, talk to us about Porky Pig.
And I was as equally offended that you chose me to talk about Porky Pig. No. No, I love Porky. Porky Pig is a true staple of the Looney Tunes universe. His first appearance was in 1935, 5 years prior to Bugs, and he's served as an icon ever since. He started off as a goofy little guy, but was eventually fine-tuned to be the straight man that the series needed, and they made him kind of nerdy. His iconic episode sign-off remains popular to this day. Is even carved into Mel Blanc's headstone per his request. In later years, Porky often gets paired with Daffy Duck, serving as a more level-headed and competent of the two, and sometimes in a smug way. He has big I told you so energy. He takes a lot of joy in watching Daffy fail after he's told him as much. Even though he's mild-mannered and easily embarrassed, he's not without controversy. Porky became the center point of a 1991 picketing by the National Stuttering Project, demanding Warner Brothers stop belittling stutterers and use Porky as an advocate for child stutterers. So while he might be the wet blanket of the party, he is a much needed reprieve from the antics of the other characters.
Great argument. I do find it hilarious that they chose a pig in a waistcoat and a bow tie to be the straight man of this organization. Joelle, is it going to be Porky Pig or is it going to be Tweety Bird?
Those are really great arguments. I have been a Tweety. Is it a Tweety head? What do you want to call that? I have been a Tweety kid. Pretty much my whole life. That was the theme.
Tweetheart?
A tweet. I've been a tweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's weird. It's like a twihart. Anyway, literally. So going back to my bat mitzvah one more time. Tweety was the theme of my bat mitzvah. The big sign-in board that you have. I had a giant foam cutout of Tweety that people signed, like their entire body was just covered in family and friend signatures. And I wore a Tweety t-shirt to my party, and I had like all this Tweety crap, and it was just Tweety everywhere. That said, Porky Pig's cool and great, but not that cool. But I love that he's an icon, and let's make that happen. But I still love Tweety more.
I'm sticking with Porky Pig. I'm sorry. You guys did a great job arguing both of these, but like Porky was the first star of Looney Tunes, and he's the sign-off to all of them. So for me, I got to move him forward. And it's a 2-2, and the higher seed is Porky. So Porky will continue into round 2, and that's the end of round 1, folks. We're going to take a quick break to relive the absolute nightmare fuel that is 1930s Looney Tunes star Buddy. We'll be right back. Hello, 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 listeners. We hope you're enjoying this week's episode. If you've ever wondered how we land on the 16 finalists in our brackets, head over to our website, greatpopculturedebate.com. That's where you'll find the public polls for upcoming topics, and your votes decide what we debate next. While you're there, be sure to check out the listener brackets for this episode so you can play along at home. You can also explore related episodes like Best 80s Cartoon, Best Disney Villain, and Best Nickelodeon Original Series, all available right now. And don't forget about Patreon. Our supporters get access to exclusive episodes, 2 available at all times, with new Patreon-only episodes dropping twice a year. Visit patreon.com/greatpopculturedebate to sign up and listen to Best Oscar-winning Original Song and Best Legion of Superheroes member today. We also have a weekly newsletter packed with updates on movies, TV, music, video games, and more. Just head to the subscribe section of our website and sign up today. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. And once again, visit greatpopculturedebate.com for upcoming polls, TV recaps, and tons of additional bonus content. We'll be right back after this. And we are back for round 2 of our best Looney Tunes character debate. Before we begin round 2, I would like to ask my panelists, would you like to share what you're working on? Steven Salvatore, author, I know you have a couple things cooking.
I have a couple things cooking. One thing that I cannot announce quite yet, but something is coming down the pipeline. So follow me, Steven Salvatore Books on Instagram, TikTok that I absolutely never post on, and get all the updates. But go buy my books.
What are the books' names?
Oh, I should probably mention that. The latest one, it's called When Love Gives You Lemons, or the boyfriend subscription, and they lived, no perfect places, can't take that away, and that's it. Yeah.
It's pretty dang good. So thank you so much for coming back. We are delighted to have you.
Thank you.
Andrea, you didn't have anything to promote, correct?
No, you can follow me on Instagram if you want, @DreSouffle. That's all I got.
That's all she's got. And you're all good, Joelle?
If anyone wants to follow me, they could just think about me. Vibes.
Vibes. You know what? We're in a vibes economy. I love that. The best place to follow us is on Blue Sky at gpcd.bsky.social or at Great Pop Culture Debate on Instagram or TikTok. You should also make sure to subscribe to our page on YouTube or Twitch, where we're posting original video and gaming content, as well as video versions of these episodes. Now let's get into round 2, which we hope will be a blue ribbon classic. First up, it's another unanimous victory for literal cultural icon Bugs Bunny, a 1 seed, who won by a hair. Actually, it's by a unanimous decision over 2-seed Sylvester the cat. But we have yet to really even talk about Bugs. And I want to open up to the floor. Andrea, I'm looking at you. Bugs, why?
He's fine. I mean, it was one of those things where because who was this up against?
Sylvester the cat.
Oh, yeah. I like Sylvester. I fought for him earlier on, but he was never like one of my favorite characters. And I feel like Bugs Bunny is just the more iconic of the two. At the end of the day, I don't really care about either of them. truthfully.
Drag him. I love that. Steven, anything you want to say about Bugs before we move on?
I mean, what is there to say about Bugs Bunny? He is Looney Tunes. That's like asking, someone to choose between like Mickey Mouse and the rest of the, sensational six, right? Like everyone's going to go with Mickey because he's the most recognizable, but he's not the most interesting. I think that Bugs can be the most interesting. And I think his like gender bending like comedy is like top tier, but he's not my fave. He's just an icon. He's Bugs.
This is getting interesting. So I thought he was going to be Ursuling to the final, and already there are cracks in the firmament. So this is juicy. Joelle, I'm going to save you until we get to the final four because Bugs is continuing to the final four. Next, the panel has also decided to unanimously advance 2-seed Marvin the Martian, which means that 4-seed Penelope Pussycat, our replacement for Pepe LePew, remember from round one, has been skunked out of our bracket. Joelle, do you have anything to say about Marvin the Martian, who we also haven't talked about?
Oh, Marvin. He has only appeared in just a handful of original cartoons. He's obviously very important in more newer properties like Space Jam. He is actually polite while also being megalomaniacal.
Yeah.
His primary goal is that he just wants to see a clear view of, I think it's Venus. And in that way, he's a bit of who's the big purple guy in Avengers?
Thanos?
He's a bit of a Thanos, yep. Because he just wants a peaceful day on his planet and without all this nonsense in the way. So there's something delightful about him. Honestly, in this economy,
Yeah.
same.
I mean, we've had a good run. I welcome my new Martian overlord, I mean, he's out there in a kicky little mini skirt and he's got that fierce little
high
helmet.
tops and his helmet. He's styling.
Style
He's cool.
icon. Yeah. All right. So we will be talking about Marvin the Martian more in the final four. The next matchup is for the birds, as the bulk of the panel is flocking to vote for 1-seed Daffy Duck, but Joelle is racing to the finish line for 2-seed Roadrunner and Wile Coyote as we adjusted the bracket last round. Andrea, don't be a duck dodger as you push for Daffy. Joelle, shake a tail feather as you defend Roadrunner. I'm going to have Andrea go first.
Yeah, Daffy Duck is another early character, I think also predating Bugs Bunny. He was meant to be sort of like an everyman, kind of in the Porky Pig way. And I think just the natural progression of that character with the way that they did his voice and all of that, it made him an easy foil to Bugs Bunny. And that's kind of one of the things that I love about the relationship between Bugs and Daffy is like, are they enemies? Are they friends? Are they frenemies? Is there tension? What's going on? I think he's just a really fun, zany character. He's got that screwball energy about him, which we don't really see a lot in the other characters in that way. He wants to be like on the same level as Bugs. He's always constantly jealous of Bugs, but like can't quite get there. And I think that makes him a good runner up against Bugs and someone to root for almost in the series. You want him to succeed, but he can't. And we can all relate to that.
We can indeed. To put this in Transformers parlance, I would say that Daffy Duck is the Starscream to Bugs Bunny's Megatron. And that argument is really hitting with me. But that being said, I want to hear from Joelle on Roadrunner and Wile Coyote, as they are now a pair in our bracket as well.
This is reminding me of the double witch debate from many years ago when I had debated both sides of the same debate. But these two are on the same side of the debate, but are inherently foes. So that's I love everything about this. Okay, so these two, not friends at all, uniquely awesome on their own and together. We've talked a lot about the Roadrunner already. He can apparently just magic his way through walls, and he's completely oblivious. He's not even a jerk. He's just doing his thing and going too fast to pay attention to this weird coyote inventing and creating and blowing himself up. Sometimes he does see it, and so he gives you a little meep meep, laugh laugh, and runs off and does his own thing. Like, could not be bothered. Then you have Coyote. He is officially a genius. There are a few cartoons where he actually gets to talk, and in those cartoons, he just sounds like genius mad scientist voice. Like, they
Niles
give him,
from Frasier is what I was getting.
There you go.
Yep.
But more science and less pretentious opera lover. I don't know. Opera's not bad thing. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Sorry
Timothy
to opera
Chalamet found
people.
quaking.
I just realized I said it, and now I'm mad at myself for saying it. I'm gonna just leave that there. Anyway, he comes off very pretentious. Whereas Wile E. Coyote just comes off really smart to me. Maybe I just have a profound love for smart people. He is obsessed with figuring out how to do the thing, and he's a physics genius. He has somehow he has a ton of money. We talked about that.
Yeah.
His investment in Acme Corp must be strong because he has complete, like, single brand loyalty. And he always tries again. It's very Pinky in the Brain. Like, he wakes up the next morning and he's got a new plan yet again. And that's it. I'll stop there.
Steven Salvatore, is it going to be Daffy Duck or is it going to be Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner?
So this is hard. This is my actual Sophie's choice. And I don't mean that to be hyperbolic. This is really upsetting to me. Because whilst Wile E. Coyote is like top 2, Daffy is my number 1 forever and always. Like, I'm a duck. I'm a duck man. That came out weird.
That's between you and your priest, but go on.
I love ducks, I love
he
ducks.
gives a duck, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Yes, I love a duck. And that's where I'm gonna stick with Daffy. That's my only argument.
So we have 2 for Daffy, and Daffy is a 1 seed, so that means he is continuing. But I do want to say this. The Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote cartoons were ones that I could watch with my father, and there is a strong generational component to these, right? We haven't talked about this. Our parents watched these the way that we watched them as children. And one thing we talked briefly about before we started recording was the violence of these cartoons. They are intensely violent. People are being shot, people are being killed constantly, and they're like for kids. But the Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner ones, I distinctly remember being a kid, and my father, who was not the most fun, happy-go-lucky person on the planet, let's just say that, would just sit there and cackle at the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote ones because they're so fast. They're like 30 seconds to a minute per bit, and they just keep coming and coming. And the Foley work is so... The noises when he falls into the canyon and the... at the, like, hilarious stuff. And you know what's going to go wrong every time. Like, when it starts, you realize this is how it's all going to go wrong. But every time, it is so funny. That being said, Daffy Duck is critical to Looney Tunes. He was pre-Bugs. He's after Porky, pre-Bugs, and he was kind of like their hero interstitially between the two of them. So he's a 1 seed, and he's going to continue to the final 4, and that means that Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote are out finally in round 2. My chaos in round 1 has come to roost because I had no idea what was coming here. It's 4 seed Speedy Gonzales versus 2 seed Porky Pig. I'm going to start with Andrea Guerrero. Where are you going on this one?
I'm gonna go with Speedy. As much as I love Porky Pig, he is a wet blanket, right? That's his whole main thing, is to kind of be the every man, the straight man, whatever terminology you want to use. Whereas Speedy, he's just quick and funny and silly, and he's another foil to Sylvester, but not in like a mean Tweety Bird way.
All right, Joelle, is it going to be Speedy Gonzales or is it going to be Porky Pig?
It's going to be Speedy still. Had it been a different alternative against Porky, I would have had a harder time with this. But yeah, no. Porky's just never been that interesting to me, and that sucks for that character. That's not his fault. He was drawn that way.
He's just drawn that way. He's not bad. He's just drawn that way.
Yeah.
Steven, is it going to be Porky Pig or is it going to be Speedy Gonzales?
As somebody who personally identifies with Porky Pig, like down to my soul, like it's in my marrow, like a little fat kid, like just wants to be loved by everybody. I'm gonna go with Speedy Gonzales, and I, I'm betraying my people for Speedy.
That's not kosher, Stephen. No, but I kid. Speedy Gonzales, you know what? Good for you. You ran right into the final four. I think this is amazing. The only real argument I had for Porky was the primacy argument as their first breakout star and the fact that he's at the end of every cartoon. But Joel, you made a really good point. He's just not that interesting as a character. But Speedy Gonzales, this is not an exaggeration. I think I was first exposed to Spanish language through Speedy Gonzales. That is true. Before Dora the Explorer, we had Speedy Gonzales. So we're going to move him into the final four. And with that, we have our final four. We're going to take a break to hire a South Korean animation studio to redraw the entirety of round one. We'll be right back.
You know that feeling when you finish a debate and you just have more to say? At the Great Pop Culture Debate, our Patreon members aren't just listeners, they're the inner circle. By joining our Patreon, you get exclusive bonus episodes, early access to polls, and the chance to hang out with us in our Discord. Help us keep the lights on and the debates heated. Join the community at patreon.com/greatpopculturedebate, because your hot take deserves a home.
And we are back with the final four of our best Looney Tunes character debate. Let's take a look at what we've got. It is Bugs Bunny, a 1 seed, versus Marvin the Martian, a 2 seed. Daffy Duck, a 1 seed, versus Speedy Gonzales, a 4 seed. I would like to start at the top of the pack with Andrea Guerrero. It's Bugs Bunny versus Marvin the Martian. Where are you going to go?
So I do have Marvin the Martian winning my bracket
Okay.
overall. I think he's such a unique character. He is one of the only fictional characters, I guess, depending on where you stand with aliens or how you interpret them or whatever. Everything else is animal or human based. And then we have Marvin the Martian, who is like literally a Martian. He has a cool outfit. He's got the Roman vibes going for him, for better or for worse. He is really smart. Just with his disintegration blaster or whatever it's called. Like Joelle was saying earlier, his only goal in life is just to get a good view of Venus and to destroy the Earth, and I welcome that stance.
It's hard to argue that in the year of our Lord 2026. Joelle, is it going to be Bugs Bunny or Marvin the Martian for you?
I'm struggling because of the Bugs Bunny of it all. Like, the Bugs Bunny, I think, officially replaces the pepperoni argument because Bugs Bunny is pepperoni in Looney Tunes. It is the thing that has become the thing. Like, we know Porky Pig was first, but it doesn't matter because Bugs Bunny is the face of all things Looney Tunes, and he's showed up in everything. He's probably talked to every single character that's been on this bracket, and some of them exist more in little silos and whatnot. He's been a foe to many, and I don't know which one's the villain when Bugs Bunny's around, because Bugs Bunny has this, kind of biting commentary. He can be very kind of obnoxious with the way he sort of tricks people and, manipulates everybody. But at the same time, that also makes him crafty, incredibly versatile. He does everything, and he can play basketball. So I don't know. Bugs Bunny is definitely up there. But I still kind of want to vote for Marvin the Martian, so I'm really struggling here.
Okay. Steven, Bugs or Marvin the Martian for you?
Can I write in a new character?
We've done that in round one. We're not going to do write-ins in the final four, but nice try.
Fine, justice for Penelope. This is really difficult for reasons that everybody has already said. I'm struggling because Bugs is Looney Tunes. But Marvin is just more interesting because I want to know more. I want to know the backstory. I want to know the future. I'm going to have to give it to Bugs though.
So let me do a little bit of science. I'm going to drop it on you. Marvin is one of the later additions. He first appeared in 1946, which is actually just 6 years after Bugs did. And I think part of what we are enjoying about Marvin is he had this kind of renaissance in the 90s. We talked about this in the warm-up. I was part of 4 boys. We were each assigned a Looney Tunes character. Marvin was mine. I wore everything Marvin the Martian. That was me in high school. It was my thing. Cringe now. At the time, it was what you did. The WB store was very hip. But I think he was kind of like a weird kind of alt character to it. He's name checked in Clueless, right? Ty's like, oh no shit, I can do Marvin the Martian. Like it's a thing. But Bugs Bunny is the brand, right? Like he's not just the face of Looney Tunes, he's the face of Warner Brothers, which Warner Brothers is now. Who knows what's gonna happen? But according to Guinness World Records, Bugs has appeared in more films, short and feature length, than any other cartoon character, and is the 9th most portrayed film personality in the world. He is the 2nd cartoon character after Mickey Mouse to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 2002, TV Guide compiled a list of the 50 greatest cartoon characters of all time, and Bugs Bunny was named number 1. And the reason for this I thought was fascinating is that Bugs has always been cool. Mickey goes through periods of ups and downs, but Bugs is counterculture on his face. He always has been. He's a wise guy. He is crafty, as you mentioned, Joelle. He does a lot of really interesting things with comedy that very few other characters get away with. So yes, he is the pepperoni. Yes, he is the obvious answer, but I don't think that makes him the wrong answer here. So I have me and Steven on Bugs. Joelle, are you sticking with Marvin? It's fine if you do.
Can I just hang out on the fence? Because it doesn't totally matter if there's 2 on Bugs.
It doesn't matter. So you're going to cheerfully withdraw?
Yeah.
And Andrew, you're sticking with Marvin?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that for you.
I'm sure that like someone that is like super deep into Looney Tunes and the Warner Brothers universe is going to listen to this episode and just be like appalled that we're all just meh with Bugs Bunny. So bring it on. Just keep me with Marvin.
It's almost oversaturation is the problem.
It is. I feel like a little jaded by Bugs.
And with Marvin, it's undersaturation. Like we want more. So
Bugs is obvious. I think that's maybe the thing is that Bugs is the obvious choice.
Yes, but I don't think that makes him the wrong choice. So with 2 votes for Bugs, 1 for Marvin, and 1 for meh, we are going to give it to Bugs. He goes into the final 2. Daffy Duck versus Speedy Gonzales. I'm going to start in the back of the pack with Steven Salvatore. Where are you on this one?
I mean, I'm Daffy Duck, 100%. I would be. It would be antithetical to my being if I did not really go hard for Daffy Duck. I mean, he's pure chaos. He's all ego. I think that he is the most human of all of the Looney Tunes characters. Not only is he like unhinged and completely screwball in all of the right ways, he's totally hilariously delusional. And I love that. I live for that. Everything he does backfires. He's so damn selfish. He's constantly screaming. He insists that he deserves all the fame, all the glory, or the wealth, all the attention, but he's constantly sabotaging himself. And honestly, nothing is truer to the gay experience than Daffy Duck. Everything that he is just so real. And I'm going to counter what Eric said about Bugs being counterculture because Bugs Bunny is always cool, therefore he can never be counterculture. Daffy Duck is the ultimate uncool, therefore Daffy is counterculture. And so that is my argument for Daffy Duck for the win. I know we're not even at that.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet, but that's going to be my answer, so you can cut and paste it later on.
I am living. That is a great argument. Joelle, is it going to be Daffy Duck or Speedy Gonzales?
Okay. In the cool version of this final 4, it would have been Speedy Gonzales versus Marvin the Martian, and that would have been a fascinatingly weird debate.
Yes.
With Bugs Bunny, I can put no one else against Bugs Bunny but Daffy Duck, because that is how it was drawn to be many, many centuries ago. No, decades. How time. Yeah, no, it's Daffy Duck in this moment. Pick another moment. It's probably not for me, but it is here.
Andrea, is it going to be Daffy Duck or Speedy Gonzales?
My heart and soul and culture and heritage and ancestors all say Speedy, but I am trying to sit here and like think about the whole grand scheme of things, and I do think Daffy Duck is going to move forward. Like everyone else has said, he is the antithesis of Bugs Bunny, and I think we're all so meh about Bugs, but we're all like so excited about Daffy Duck, who are like they're supposed to be somewhat the same character, right? But Daffy just can't quite get there. And we apparently love an underdog here.
So that's a vote for Daffy for you.
That's a vote for Daffy, yeah.
I will make it a clean sweep, which gives us the final two of Bugs versus Daffy. I'd like to start in the middle with Joelle, Bugs versus Daffy.
Is it duck season or rabbit season?
Yeah.
Which one means which one dies? I always duck season means Bugs wins, right? Is that how
Yes.
that works?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. My
Bugs
brain
is pulling
exploding.
off the rabbit season.
Right,
And
because
saying duck season.
that way he can make it past Fudd. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Without any explanation, I'm just going to go with Daffy Duck, and I'm going to let other people talk.
Steven Salvatore, Daffy Duck or Bugs Bunny?
I mean, the classic rabbit season cartoon would not be as funny as it is if Daffy Duck weren't a complete blithering idiot at every turn and constantly falling into Bugs's trap. So while Bugs is smart and he's cool and he's in control, Daffy makes the entire cartoon. He's the punchline, and for that, and always Daffy.
Andrea, Daffy Duck or Bugs Bunny?
Both of these characters are very confident and full of themselves. Bugs, maybe rightfully so. Daffy, unearned confidence. And I think there's something to be said and celebrated about that. So I'm going to go with Daffy.
Steven had 2 points in his argument. Number one was that Bugs cannot actually be cool because he's always considered cool. So he is therefore, by definition, uncool. That spoke to me. The other thing that spoke to me is we've talked about how many of these characters are representative of different kinds of American life in a certain way. What is more representational of America than delusion, of pettiness, of being completely out of control, of being insane, like just totally unhinged? And like, there is something about that. Like, we root for a petty icon. And for that reason, I'm going to give it to Daffy Duck. He was the star before Bugs. And I think it's a much more interesting win. And if you're listening to this being like, boo, it should be Bugs. I hear what you're saying, but which is the more interesting character? Like, it's the guy who keeps trying to be in first place and can't get there. I think that is actually genuinely compelling. So there you have it, folks. Our pick for the best Looney Tunes character is Daffy Duck. Do you agree? Do you think this was a revoltant development? Tell us how you really feel by leaving a comment on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or find us on Blue Sky, TikTok, or Instagram. While you're there, make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast so you can hear about what new debates are coming soon, vote in open polls, and even decide which topics we tackle next. I want to say thank you to my panel. We created quite the merry melody. And thank you for listening. If you loved what you heard, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get even more exclusive content and you get episodes a whole day early. We hope you have a good one. And remember, everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion. That's all, folks.